Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon over there in Valencia. And
Yeah,
welcome to
hi.
another Nacho Tuesday here with George here with Allure TestOps. And without further ado, we'd love if you can introduce what you do over there.
Yeah, okay. So my name is George. I'm responsible for the technical support of our clients around the world. And actually, we are Allure team, and Allure team it's a test management system. If you like, I will just continue a little bit. Otherwise, just interrupt me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Allure TestOps is like mission control of your tests. It brings automation and manual tests together, and you don't need to collect this information from the different tool. You don't need to aggregate it. You don't need to think how your data flow works. You just have everything in one place, and it connects all the tools that you have in your infrastructure. For example, CI system, so we can upload the data, and you don't need to think about it as well. So it's something like that, very short.
So what got you to this point in your career? What got you to join Allure TestOps? Where'd you come from before?
Oh, before I've been in one company that was, how to say that, it was consulting for the purchasing. It was really big contracts around the world. And then I just moved in 2020 when we had this COVID lockdowns, business in the countries when I was responsible for went a little bit down. And so I switched places. It was first, I attended the courses for automation QA because it was really interesting. I had a lot of free time back then. So I tried product management, I tried automation testing, I tried some data-related activities like data analysis whatsoever, and I ended up with automation testing. And during these courses, I saw Allure framework and Allure report, which is the logo here. You can see I fell in love. I liked the tool, and then later on this course, we had Allure TestOps, which was called I think, Allure Enterprise Edition back then, and I fell in love again because it was really much better than the tools I saw for the automation. It was comfortable to use. It was, how to say that, a Swiss knife that was able to integrate everything that you are working on. So it was something like that. So we met with the owners of the company. I asked, how can I help? And they say, we need to cover the technical support direction. And then I just joined the team, and since 2020, I'm in the team, and I'm currently leading the support services.
Definitely. And you're not just like a typical customer service person. You have I gather you have a pretty good technical background as well too, right?
Oh, yes. It's not possible to help people that know the infrastructure, they know the automation, they know some programming. So basically, you need to know everything at least a little bit, or on a high level, you need to understand what is the workflow in the tool, what is the workflow generally in the testing when you're talking about the processes whatsoever. So it's not just, hello, look, this is documentation, because we have a lot of problems sometimes, and this problems is not just provoked by the product itself, but it's usually, I don't know, 99% of cases that I saw is sometimes the infrastructure of the client.
Yep.
And you need to convince them to check there, and then they will be able to fix the problem that they're facing.
Yeah, it's not just like sending them a simple FAQ.
No, it's not possible now, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, I don't know.
Well, sounds like they got the right guy for the job. So I guess, how does Allure TestOps facilitate the centralization of both manual and automated test cases? What impact does this have for overall QA efficiency?
For QA efficiency, okay. The team which stands behind Allure TestOps, they came from the automation, and they built automation first test management system. So basically, they were thinking about all the shortcomings that they saw in the TMSs back then. It was maybe started somewhere in 2018 or 17, the initial version of Allure Enterprise Edition and Allure TestOps now. And then they worked with the testing teams that were responsible for the manual testing as well. And then it was combined all together. So you don't need to have different tools. You have one project. In one project, you have both in automation tests and manual tests, and all the statistics, all the data that you're producing when you're testing your system actually stays in one place. So it's much better for the teams to have it in one place. They still can distinguish between the manual test and automation test, because you filter out something and you just see what you're working on. And it's much easier to have this tool other than to go to different tools and then collect this information from different places. And also, we take the heavy lifting of the integration with all the systems. So, for example, with the CI system, with the issue trackers, you don't need to do that because it's already done. And if you have something in your mind that you want to integrate the tool with, then it's possible to do it on our side. So you don't need to think about the integrations. You just think about stuff that you need to test. So basically, this is your product, and you're testing your product, and that's it.
Yeah, so you guys, one of your core competencies is really allowing people to visualize the data, right, and identify bottlenecks. Could you talk us through maybe some more of the data analysis that your platform does to help people identify issues with their testing?
Yeah. We need to start with Allure framework again, because Allure framework was built based on the idea that you need to provide some additional data to your tests. Otherwise, people won't be able to understand. So there is a two group of people. That first group writes tests, and sometimes they are not the people that analyzing their test results.
Yep.
So you can add additional information that we reference as metadata, and metadata allows you to see the test results and generally information about your product in different slices. So it could be sliced for product analysts, it could be sliced for, I don't know, developers. Developers are interested, what is my module, my microservice doing? And the analysts are interested about the feature, so they need the information about the feature slice. And the same data could be used for different people, and you can use this information so just to narrow down searches, and based on the information that you provide from your test results, you can provide analytics for different types of people. Yep. So if you want to see microservice, then you just filter out everything that is related to your microservice you're working on. If you want to think about the feature, let's say, call it authentication, that you will be able to see only how your particular feature is doing and what are the stories, and also not only analytics, but the generally representation of your test cases, which is the documentation of your test, can be different depending on who you are and what your need is. Yes, so it's possible to move this data like this and provide and have different views from the data that you receive.
Do you have any best practices for maybe customizing the dashboard for, say, business stakeholders that might have nothing to do with the technical side, but just like to know kind of how the
product's coming along? Yeah. That's correct. So if you are just a manager, then you just ask your people, please give me this slice of data. I just want to see global numbers, and it's also possible. So you don't create any filters, you just show general information. If the dashboards that we have in Allure TestOps is not enough, you can gather this data from the database if you installed Allure TestOps on-premise, and it's all possible to gather this data and build some Grafana dashboards which your managers would just love.
Nice. And what kind of data do you think business stakeholders would be interested in, like performance data, maybe like improvement based on the testing results?
Usually people are looking for how the automation is progressing, because you have some manual tests, and manual tests take usually a lot of time. And you need to at least automate your regression testing, which you run over and over again, day by day. So if you have something on the regress side, then you probably want to automate it. And if you want to see what is the progress, so basically the number of automated tests today, number of manual tests today, then tomorrow you have this, and the number of manual tests decreasing. So basically you can see this progress, and you can understand what will be the time consumption for the regression testing in future, for example, like that. So this is what they're interested in, and they are interested in, decreasing the cost of manual work.
Yep. And can you ever get to a full point of automation, or do you still kind of recommend some manual tests to just for a sanity check?
It all depends. It depends on the team, depends on the product. Some products do not have automation at all, and some products do not have manual tests at all. It all depends on the team decision and the approach they selected. So there is no right way and silver bullet.
Yep. So what considerations would a QA team have to think about before moving over to Allure TestOps? How do you guys support this transition that teams that might have been doing this manually, the old school method, moving over to your platform? What kind of support do you offer those type of companies?
Okay, well, the beauty of the Allure framework, again, that you don't need to create the automated test cases, because when you upload the data, automated test cases have been created automatically by the tool. And then we also have scripts for the migration from third-party TMSs. So basically, if you want to migrate for somewhere, that we can create or update our existing scripts for API to API migration, and then you just migrate, check, and continue working as it's supposed before in different tool.
Nice.
And if you need some advice on how to use the workflows inside Allure TestOps, then starting from the first day of trial, you also can ask us to help you assist in order to understand what is the better way to handle the tests.
That's nice. And that's kind of your job, right? Handling customer.
That's my job. Yes,
yeah.
what I'm doing. So I'm not lying at all.
Yeah, you know the process like through and through. How long does that migration typically take for companies?
Depends on the number of tests on the source system. You need first to create some, let's say, first attempt in order to understand whether we can process everything that is on the side of the third-party TMS. Then you can create production migration and just start working. It could be 1 day, it could be 2 days, depending on the number of the projects and how fast you can check the test cases that you created with the migration tool on Allure TestOps side.
It's really not too bad in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
Nice. So I guess could you give any examples of some companies that you've worked with where their QA teams moved over to working with Allure TestOps and what the results of those transitions were?
Okay. Off the top of my head, it's not usual example, but I think it is a good example. Sometimes you have a product, and the product is not for you, not for yourself, but it's product for some company that you work for.
Yep.
Let's say you are a subcontractor, and there is a very good and big team that is working on, and you need to deliver the product. And the product delivery depends whether there are some critical errors or not. So a couple of teams, they created so-called quality gates based on Allure TestOps, because Allure TestOps allows you to see the data in real time. So you can see whether your tests are producing errors. So basically, maybe something is wrong on the test side, or maybe something is wrong on the product side. And you are able to see and gather this data and make a decision maybe in external tool. Allure TestOps doesn't have this capability at the moment, but we are thinking about it. And you can gather this information, you can see errors, 100 errors, and 2 of them are critical. So you just stop your pipelines and stop delivery, rework, and then run it again. So they were able to save this time on incorrect product delivery on the side of their client, for example, like this. And also we not only limited by the managing tests inside the system, also they have let's say ecosystem around it. So there's a couple of plugins for IDEs, couple of plugins for CI systems, and the tool that allows you to upload the data. So you don't need to have this overhead in order to integrate with TMS. Basically, you just use our tool, it uploads the data. If you want to automate something, then IDE has the plugin, and plugin allows you to gather this data from Allure TestOps and create kind of skeleton for your automated test and then automate it. You just need to add the code, actual code on top of the steps that we are able to use. So it saves you time. It allows you to save time, and it also creates bridge between the manual testing and automated testing. So it also saves time and ease the process.
Great. What else do you guys do to ensure scalability and adaptability for going forward? So once the QA team adopts Allure TestOps, how do you guys kind of ensure their future success and optimization of their use of the platform?
When you are using Allure TestOps, it's let's say it was designed as cloud native application, so it runs easily in Kubernetes. We have our SaaS system, it runs on the Kubernetes clusters, and if people are deploying it in-house on their premises, then also if your workload becomes bigger, it's inevitable, I think, and then you just need to scale it horizontally. You don't need to add anything, you just add additional resources, and on top of that, you will be working as it was before. So basically, you don't need to rebuild the system, you just need to add additional resources for that. And that's it. And we also can, provide some advice in order to scale up the system, tweak some parameters in order to enhance the performance of the tool.
That's great. How does your guys' pricing model work? For say an entry-level team coming on board, and maybe somebody that wants to get to a higher level of scalability.
When you're working with SaaS system, it will be, I think that's $39 per one seat. One seat, that means one person is working in the UI. When you need to add some additional persons, additional team, then you just add seats. If you have some managers that require just access to dashboards and they do not need to create anything, that will be free of charge. For the on-premises solution, it will be the same. The price will be maybe a little bit different, and you just need to add additional licenses if your team grows, and that's it.
It's really
when your code base grows and the number of tests is growing, then you just need to add resources, not the seats, not the license. It doesn't change, depending on the workload.
Yeah, I can't really put a price on testing. I know it's like some of the more boring work that you could ever do on a product or a platform, but it's one of the most important things you could obviously do.
Yeah, testing is not boring actually. If you're like a monkey, what does this button do? Yep. It's a lot of fun, to be honest.
Yeah, to break things.
yeah, break things. Some people love it, some people do not love it, but then they are not in QA.
Yep. Yeah, true. Yeah, I could see that too. I guess I'm always breaking things in marketing too.
We call it A/B testing. A candidate for testing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've tested plenty of apps over the years. I've been an entrepreneur myself and brought many products to market. And yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, testing is pretty fun.
It's really fun. I love it. I love break things.
Yep. Yeah, I've done web apps, mobile apps. I've done IoT products too. So the IoT products are kind of fun when you break those. But anyway, so I guess failure comes with any profession. Can you tell us about a time you failed and what you learned from it?
Yeah. So we are going back again. When the tool was built, it was built as automation first in mind. So basically, it was built by the automation QAs for automation QAs, because all the people that standing behind the system were for in generally automated tests. One as well was from what is the name of the profession there? Something developer in test, let's say so, and they were building the tool for themselves initially. Yep. And yes, so when our client base grew, it was clear for us that probably manual QA feel a little bit uncomfortable with the tool, because it was for automation and some features that manual QAs were used to see in tools like, for example, TestRail were missing. And we communicated with the teams a lot, and whole year of 2024, we dedicated ourselves to closing this gap. Mm-hmm. So they got, for example, shared steps. It allows you to reuse some steps that you describe in your tests many times. So if you, for example, testing authentication before the main test body, then you can use this shared step and just put it over the test body of your test, and it will be in your test scenario. So you don't need to write it again and again. Then again, people like to see, for example, some formatting in the text, and it was completely missing. We just had plain text, and the plain text was not comfortable for people, because sometimes you just lose something if it's not highlighted or it's not bold or whatsoever. And also we used, that sub-step approach, and some people, they just do not get it. And we thought about it. And now the test cases for manual QAs have dedicated field that calls expected result. It was possible to use the expected results before, but now it's explicit. They love it and they use it. Yep. So the initial maybe mistake was to think only about one group of people that is working. So we say that we are for manual QA and automation QA, but then one particular group that was heavily dedicating themselves to working with the tool were just lost a little bit, and they felt uncomfortable. So this was our mistake and what we fixed last year.
Yeah, I feel like that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people building products. A lot of times they build a feature because they think, this is, interesting for me, but not necessarily for their customer base. And they'll go and build it and then realize that it doesn't really connect with the audience.
Yeah, that's correct. So they call it confirmation bias a lot.
Yep. Yeah, we get that all the time as entrepreneurs. Yeah, we get excited about building features and, but if you work backwards and you understand the customer and, really what their problem is, you could, really align your solution a lot better with that.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. That's true. I guess what kind of books would you recommend, about your field that somebody could pick up and learn more about what you do and how they can become better at test ops?
About my field, if talking about technical support or you're talking about the testing, actually,
more about the field.
It will serve both and the people for working with the technical support and testing. Last year I read, not read, but reread books by Nigel Poulton, Docker Deep Dive and Kubernetes book, which are written really, really good. I like it, and sometimes I just need to refresh my memory. If I do not do something in the infrastructure, then you inevitably forget it, and I need to refresh my memories.
Yep.
And maybe a book by Lawrence Gonzalez, which called Deep Survival. It is not technical book, but it's interesting stories about people who died and why, and who survived and why. Mm-hmm. So basically, it tells you if you're an expert in your field and you are overconfident, then the probability of your dying in the field is higher, much higher. Yep. So you need sometimes go back and think like you are just newbie and see things from different angles. Because what I saw in my work, sometimes overconfident people just can create a disaster.
100%.
So probably these 3 books I would recommend to read. People who are working definitely in technical field and genuine, especially in QA.
Yeah, I like that.
Do not be overconfident.
Oh, totally. Yeah, ego kills everything, right? So I think you know, people's biggest weak points are either they're insecure or they're egotistical and they think they know it all. And you know, as the saying goes, like a true wise man knows that he knows nothing. So you need to, you know, always kind of assume that you know nothing, like you said, and kind of take a look at everything from a rudimentary level and just assume that you really don't know everything that you know. So you don't introduce that confirmation bias. And you know, I've seen that with entrepreneurs many times. They'll bring a product to market and they'll say, everybody should understand what I'm doing here. They should love it for what it is. And it's like, well, did you actually work the other way around and, you know, actually understand the customer's problem and then try to put yourself in their shoes and design an experience around it that would deliver an elegant solution for them and actually help solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly that.
Great. And I guess any other philosophical takeaways that you've learned over the years in your field and, you know, maybe some rules of thumb that other people could follow in your footsteps and learn from?
Interesting. Let me think a bit. In my case, and I'm talking from the position of the lead of the support team, you need to be curious.
Yep.
Otherwise, you cannot learn. And in your field, it's always, how to say that, even you don't use some knowledge right now, it could be used tomorrow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if people are not curious, they are not learning and they are not progressing at all. So you need to be curious.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, if you stop being curious, you kind of start to die in a way, right? You know, the moment you stop having that desire to actually learn and improve yourself, you kind of wither away, and you know, professionally, intellectually, and you know, the likes of that.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Yeah, I've always seen that too. The people that are always curious, even if they fail too, they're always curious about, you know, how to fix that problem, or you know, maybe even the next project they move to, you know, they're curious to, like, you know, they have that passion to really figure it out. There's a saying I always tell people too: the person that loves the journey will always go further than the person that likes the destination. So I think that the love of that journey is that curiosity that really drives people.
It drives people, and it allows you to find unconditional ways from the situation that you are currently in.
Yep, definitely. So I guess, is there anything else you'd like potential customers to know about Allure TestOps and why they should pop over to your website today and pick it up?
If they go to our website, they will actually able to request trial, and the trial will allow you to understand whether the tool fits your needs or not. You just need to be curious again. You need to be monkey, and then you can try. You can see whether it fits in your infrastructure, it fits in your processes, and you just can use it or not. Or at least you can try Allure Framework, which is a really good tool for the automation if you want to see what are the test results of your automation tests. And you, for example, for some small teams, you just don't need a big TMS system, but you need just information about what is happening right now, and the tool can allows you to see what is happening.
Great. I guess what's next?
Every tool has its own user, and initially, if you don't need Allure TestOps and you are satisfied with Allure Report, but in future, maybe the history will change. We'll see.
Yep. And I guess what's the next for Allure TestOps? You guys have any exciting new features or strategic directions you guys are taking the company in?
I can say some buzzwords like AI or something.
Yeah, for sure.
It will be definitely incorporated in the tool, but if we're talking about the product itself and how we are going to involve, probably, and in future, our SaaS product will be easier to use for the end users, easier to use generally, how to say that, for the onboarding purposes. It will be easier, and we are going to evolve and also incorporate some additional feature that are currently not in the tool, like, for example, managing the requirements. Some big teams, they are requiring this, and they want to see the requirements for the product inside one tool, and then link your tests to requirements, link your tasks to requirements. And we also heard this user voice, and we are going to implement these tools.
Excellent. So besides being able to pick up Allure TestOps and NachoNacho, the SaaS marketplace, the best way to buy SaaS, where else can people learn about your guys' product? And could you say the website name one more time?
It's qameta.io.
Yep.
People go there. People sometimes looking for Allure report without knowing that they probably need Allure TestOps, because
Yep.
they heard something, and they also saw jungle radio, how you call it, when people tell each other about the tools that you're using on the working place. And sometimes people change in the companies, and they say, well, you're using this one, but look at this. And this changes the path of our tool. So sometimes people even do not know about it, and still someone comes from the other team, and then they switch their team assisting to Allure TestOps. So it's word of mouth and just some searching in the internet.
Great. Well, George, I really appreciate you coming on today. We're very excited about this partnership. Love having more TestOps products on our platform. Frankly, I think we need more of them. So glad to have you guys. You can learn more at qameta.io. You could also pick it up today in the NachoNacho marketplace. We are the best place to buy SaaS. We have a great deal on this product. So feel free to check it out on the website to learn more, or pick it up today in the NachoNacho marketplace.
Thanks for having me. See you.
Thank you, George. Bye.